Hello, everyone. Yes, I know it's that time again. Um, I just finished a little bit of a longer story for you all. So, I hope you enjoy it. This story is a bit of a backstory that Glitchtail has not talked about. I don't know if Camilla Cuevas is planning to go this in-depth into the backstory or not, but this is my take on the backstory. I hope you enjoy. And yes, this is just part of the backstory. The rest is to come. Enjoy. It's called The Wizards, How the War Began. Rin Winterway ran to the battle, her gray and patience blue skirt flowing in the wind behind her as she sped. "For my sister Ellie!" she screamed as she sent out her patience ropes, trying to bind the fox monster in front of her, who sidestepped deftly with a chuckle. "Pretty good, child, but not good enough." The monster strikes with his staff, and Rin falls, whispering, "Kanashi won't be happy," thinking of the kind fox monster who helped care for her and Ellie after their parents died. The fox laughed. "Die as you remember Ellie." "Rin, come on. It's not fair. You're younger than me. How can you be stronger?" Ellie huffed breathlessly to her sister as Rin's patience ropes pulled her from her feet again. "Sorry, sis," Rin laughed musically. Ellie smiled at her beautiful little sister happily, turning at a sound in the doorway. "Rin, Ellie, come inside. We have guests." "Yes, Mom," the girls called, running inside, their gray and patience blue trimmed dresses flowing behind them in the gentle breeze. "Good morning, ladies," said a cheerful voice, and Rin and Ellie looked up at the young skeleton standing there. "Gaster, it's good to see you, my friend," Ellie said, hugging Gaster, who returned the hug with a smile. "It's good to see you too, Ellie." "Rin, listen, I had a question for you." The girls looked at Gaster as he took a deep breath. "Would you both like to join the wizards?" The girls gasped before Rin spoke, looking at her big sister with pride. "Ellie should more than me. She's older and has a better chance." A deep, gentle voice spoke behind them, making the girls turn to see young Prince Asgore smiling behind them. "I recommended both of you to Gaster because I believe we need you, regardless of age." Rin smiled at the monster prince. "Thank you for believing in us." Asgore smiled and nodded as he, Gaster, Ellie, and Rin sat down to talk details with their parents. Hours later, "Ellie, Rin, let me introduce you to the other wizards." Gaster brought the sisters into a large room in the royal palace. "This is Roy Goldburn, Soul Trade of Justice." Roy smiled at the sisters and bowed deeply. Ellie smiled at him warmly, noticing the blonde hair and yellow eyes of a strong justice wizard. "This is his younger brother, Shane, Soul of Perseverance." Rin curtsied at the handsome boy. "This is Cody Fallenfire, Soul of Integrity." They smiled at him, and Cody smiled back. "Mila Rutro, Soul of Kindness." "Hi, Mila," the sister said, and Mila smiled shyly. "Hello, Ellie," Rin said a beautiful woman from with brown-orange hair from the doorway. My name is Agate Lightvale, soul of bravery, and this is my brother, Copper, soul of determination. Copper nodded, his red eyes sparkling. Ellie, Rin, come quickly. It's your parents. An out-of-breath soldier burst in and followed the sisters. Mom, what happened? Mrs. Winterway looked weakly at her daughters. A fox monster I didn't recognize. Her hand fell toward her husband's lifeless form before she could finish her sentence. Ellie looked up with tears in her eyes, and she spotted a fox monster in the woods. Rin, get the others. This is war. Rin nodded, running off as Ellie headed into the woods. Rin nearly ran into the young Ivy Phoenix along the way, who was about her age, and, telling her what happened, they headed off together. Roy felt a blast from some monster's magic, and he fell. And with his last moments of consciousness, he remembered that awful day where everything fell apart. Nice one, Shane, Roy laughed as he blocked his little brother's attack expertly. But we better stop. He smiled at his friend, Gaster. Asgore promised to teach me to fight like a monster. I'm so glad that humans and monsters live in peace. Gaster had turned to leave when a boy with dark eyes came running up to them. Hey, you monster! The boy spat at Gaster. What are you doing here? What are you doing among humans? Is your daddy dead and your mommy such a deadbeat you have to pretend to belong with us? Without thinking, Gaster's eyes flashed purple. My mom isn't a deadbeat! He screamed as he hit the boy, tears in his eyes. Gaster saw, almost in slow motion, the boy fall, blood on his chest and on Gaster's hands. What have I done? He thought in horror as he ran to wipe the blood off. Gaster, Roy tried to call after his friend, but he couldn't hear him. Moments later, Prince Asgore ran up to see if the boy was living or dead, and, to his horror, though Agate and Shane were trying to comfort him, a single look on his best friend's face, and Roy knew the boy was dead. Roy barely registered what happened over the next few hours, calling after Asgore, watching Agate walk home in fury, the death of Rin and Ellie's parents by an unknown monster, the monster massacre, Agate and Copper's idea to save the remaining monsters, Ivy's tears. Roy shook his head as he watched Asgore walk sadly into the underground and out of sight. This is a nightmare, he thought. Little did he know the nightmare was just beginning. Roy's eyes closed on the massacre of his friends, just as he saw Shane fall beside him, blood spreading across his chest. At least we die together, brother, Roy thought, and knew no more. Little did we know what would happen, thought Mila, as she blocked blow after blow from a strong monster, glaring at her angrily, until an unexpected blow hit the wizardess, and she fell, remembering as her consciousness faded, a horrible day everything went wrong. Mila and Gaster ran after the thieves until suddenly rocks were thrown into their path as if they weighed nothing. Mila and Gaster tried to cover a bakery nearby with their kindness shields. It's too heavy, Mila gasped. Gaster ran inside the bakery, and moments later returned with the baker. the second that Mila's kindness shield broke under the weight of the stones. "What have you done?" the baker huffed angrily. Gaster smiled, resting a small floating hand on his shoulder. "We could go with all the compensation paperwork, and you could get some money back. But what if those thieves return while we're gone? Then there's nothing we can do." "Just forget it and go," the baker fumed. Hours later, Mila and Gaster were about to give up on their search for the thieves and return to the Phoenix's house. "Agate, Ivy, Roy." Gaster hugged his friends. "We're just about to go and visit Ivy. You want to come?" They nodded. "Come on, let's go." "Roy, Asgore's coming to visit." "Nice one, Shane," Roy laughed, just as he was struck by his little brother's attack. "But we better stop." He smiled at his friends. "Asgore promised to teach me to fight like a monster. I'm so glad humans and monsters can live in peace." Gaster just turned to leave when a boy with dark hair and dark eyes ran up and spat on Gaster. "Hey, you monster!" I have a name," Gaster said. Whatever. What are you doing among humans? You know you don't belong here. What, is your daddy dead and your mommy such a deadbeat you have to pretend to belong with us?" Before Ivy, Roy, or Mila could stop Gaster, his eyes flashed purple, and there was a bleeding child laying at Gaster's feet. "What nightmare is this going to start?" Mila thought unhappily as Gaster ran off, tears streaming down his face to wipe the blood off from the stream by the mountain. "Little did we know," Mila gasped sadly as her eyes closed for the last time. Cody blocked blast after blast from Gaster's father expertly, but hearing the angry skeleton say, "You killed my daughter! For May you will die," made him think about his sister, and he faltered, stepping into a fellow fighter's attack. "If only we knew," and he remembered as he fell. "You're such a weirdo," Cammy laughed, tackling her brother. "I'm not," he chuckled, his eyes flashing a beautiful royal blue. A flash of fear crossed Cody's eyes as he heard thunder clap in the distance. "Are you still afraid of thunder at 23 years old?" Cammy asked. "I guess so," Cody thought. "Hey guys," he said happily, getting up to join his friends as they walked by. "Good to see you," he began, but was interrupted by an 8-year-old boy running up and spitting on Gaster. "Hey, monster! You don't belong with humans. What are you doing here? Is your daddy dead and your mommy such a deadbeat you have to pretend to belong with us?" Cody summoned his rapier. "Gaster, don't," he whispered, but his words went unheard. As he watched in horror, Gaster's eyes flashed purple, and the child lay dead at his feet, blood on Gaster's hands. Gaster ran towards the mountain, tears streaming down his face. This is such a nightmare, he thought sadly. Such a nightmare. Cody echoed his memory as his life faded away. Copper wiped a tear at the memory, slamming his fist on the castle wall. "What's wrong, big brother?" Amber asked, walking towards him. He smiled at the happy child. "Oh, just remembering some old friends. One made a mistake, and they had to go away forever," Copper said sadly. "I didn't like them at first, but after a while I did. Then they had to go away." Amber hugged her big brother. Things had been tough for him lately, ruling the kingdom without Agate and taking care of Amber. "Like how Sissy went away after your fight?" Amber asked, worried. Copper chuckled, ruffling her pretty blue hair. "Agate isn't gone forever, Amber. We just had a small fight." She looked confused. "Why?" Copper chuckled. "Well, I regretted something I had done years ago, and I wanted to fix it. Agate didn't want me to, so she asked me to fight. If I won, I could fix it." Amber looked up happily. "But you did win, big brother. You can fix it now." Copper stood to his feet. "Could you go grab my coat, sis? We'll go fix it together, okay?" "Hi, brother. Did you miss me?" said a cool voice from the doorway. "Agate, you came home!" Amber cried, but Agate ignored her, staring directly at Copper. "Fight me again, Copper. One last time." But there was a weird glint in Copper's eyes. In Agate's eyes. Copper looked worried. "No, I won't fight again, Agate. Run, Amber." "I don't think so," cried Agate as a dark orange blast trapped Amber's dress. "Agate, why are you doing this?" We, Amber and I were supposed to meet Ivy at the mountain." Agate laughed cruelly. "None of you will meet Ivy ever again." Amber screamed as Agate's spear broke her beautiful two-traded soul, covering the tip in blood. "No!" screamed Copper, falling to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "What have you done?" Agate turned to her brother. "Same thing I'm going to do to you." And she ran him through with her spear, still dripping wet with Amber's blood. And looking into her dying brother's eyes, her hair and eyes turning pink, said, as his life faded in front of her, "Humans and monsters will never live in peace if the barrier is ever broken. I'll see to that." Dropping Copper's dead body, she dragged Amber's lifeless form outside. "Just one final spell before I die," she said, and she collapsed outside and placed her soul, which was now fully pink, on Amber's body, and watched as her vision faded, as the form of Amber got sucked into the soul, and a dark brown and pink-haired and pink-eyed girl appeared. "Promise me, Bête Noire," Agate whispered hoarsely. "Humans and monsters will never live in peace. If they escape, turn all those monsters to dust. With her final consciousness, Agate heard a wicked laugh, and Bete Noire whisper, "I promise." Watching all this horror unfold, Ivy Phoenix stood shakily to her feet. "I have to warn the monsters. It's going to be very dangerous for them on the surface now," she said aloud, staring at the lifeless body of her friend, Copper Lightvale. Tears streaming down her face, she ran toward the mountain. "Whatever happens, they're my only family now." Thank you all for listening to my story. And there will be more coming later as I write it. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful night. And remember, I love each and every one of you. Stay determined. Bye.